All right, we're going in. Well, this is Cierra.
Yes, hello.
This is my guest tonight. And we just walked down the street and back, just kind of showing them the ropes a little bit.
Getting a feel for it.
And then I was trying to do it sideways, and my dear wife called and said, we're all cranking our necks sideways. And I thought, okay, that's silly of me. So I apologize, everybody out there. Let's go on inside.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to grab the key real quick.
Okay.
You can take a look at the outside here.
All right. Yes, I imagine this was quite a bustling spot at one time. The old benches, people were sitting out here, hanging out. You got the keys to the city, don't you?
Sure would be nice. I heard there's something haunted in our city hall.
Oh, I bet. Now, is this open during the day at all, or this is totally closed in here?
So, years ago, I'm going to say in the last 5 years,
Okay.
it's kind of changed. It was more of an open establishment.
Okay. Oh, this is nice.
Yeah, it's now, what they've been doing is they've been opening it up whenever there is a special, event happening at the Amway Arena right
Yep.
there. So they'll let one of the bars come in here and just kind of host.
Okay.
Here. They've been changing up some of the decor, and they're redoing a lot of the back rooms right now. I think they were less well maintained, so now they're kind of giving them a refresh.
Right.
I hope they're going to open it up more to the public because it's a beautiful space in here, obviously.
It is a good-looking space. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, and right on the train station here.
Yes.
That's just awesome. And now, does the train stop here to actually pick people up or no?
Yes, it does. So while this building no longer functions as a train station, our sun rail, as we call it, runs from Sanford to Orlando, and they actually have little digital kiosks out there next to the railroad that you can go and scan and get your ticket.
Okay. That's nice. And I'm glad I was just kind of watching, making sure I get reception here.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't absolutely positive how that process would go. Being I'm so far from home, we might not have the same phone companies and whatnot.
That's true. I would set up a flashlight just in case. Who knows? They want to say hello or something.
Yeah, because I'm always good. I mean, look here. Somebody's been doing some business here. I'm going to set my K2 down here, too. Oh, I must be too close with my phone, probably.
We get some weird energy. So we
Yeah.
get some wild readings in here, I'm going to say.
Okay. Yeah, that was a bummer. I thought I could pull that stuff off where I turned my phone the sideways. And
It didn't want to rotate with you.
it didn't. I learned a big lesson. So everybody was sitting sideways. But hey, I'm glad we got that caught up. And I'm excited that we have people coming on tonight. And I'm excited to have Cierra here. I'm tired. I'm not tired. I'm excited to be. I am tired. But it's been a long, hot day. Probably, 94, 90?
This summer has truly kicked into gear in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's getting really hot out here.
Yeah, and I was sitting out here on the park bench for 20 minutes or so. I'm like, boy, this is just a bummer. I was starting to sweat. I'd like sitting in a sauna up in northern Minnesota or something.
Yeah.
But hey, so you give tours, and you are a paranormal investigator too. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I would say that's the big difference between our tour and other ghost tours you might see in other places is while we are taking you and telling you about the history of the area and telling you various stories, we are giving you the opportunity to, yes, investigate. We keep a bunch of K2 meters that we bring out. We have dowsing rods. We have flashlights. Some of our guides have developed their own kits that they have different tools that they want to use.
Right. So you don't just give a tour, you give people a chance to try out some equipment.
Exactly.
If they brought some. Okay, that's nice. We do some tours ourselves up in Minnesota of a hotel that we've investigated a few times. We're quite familiar with the fact that it is haunted. And I told my partner, I said, boy, I'm going to probably learn some new stuff tonight. But that's all right. I am excited about that.
Yeah.
So how big is your group? Like how many people
Or
or?
staff. We have, now I have to count here.
Oh, I just estimate.
Yeah, there's probably like at least 10 of us, maybe 12, 15.
Okay. And you take turns doing the tours?
Yeah, so it really kind of depends on like our schedule, that sort of thing.
Okay.
We're also just very flexible in general. This isn't anybody's main job, so they pick up a tour when they can, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever somebody wants to do a tour, if it's at a special time, different than when we normally run it, like
Right.
we're pretty easily able to accommodate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now, so you're doing the tours. How about the investigation part? Have you investigated like every building on this main street, or what would you say?
As many as possible. My boss has been out here doing this for over 10 years now.
10 years.
Yeah. So she has very personally gone in and investigated a lot of these buildings. Like initially in the early years, she's got a book that she did with another one of the guides on it called "In the Shadow of Two Theme Park Castles."
Right.
Because people, of course, they think about, Disney and that sort of thing, but they don't realize that the downtown area and parts of Orlando have a lot of history to them as well, before Disney.
Yeah, and I'm super glad that I came downtown here. There's a bunch of classical architecture down here and good old-fashioned history that I'd love to spend a lot more time figuring out. Unfortunately, being from Minnesota, I don't have all the time.
Gotta go back.
But I thought that's why I would kind of do an interview with somebody and just find out. No, so is this just Old Town Orlando? Is that what you would call it, or what is it actually?
This is really just our main downtown. We have like an area that's called Old Town, but it's kind of more like a tourist attraction, prefabricated.
I've seen that, yeah.
Sort of thing.
So it's not even Old Town, really. It's
So this is one of our oldest buildings here in downtown Orlando, actually.
Okay.
This building itself dates back to 1886. Not all of a lot of these lots have been here for quite some time, and they've been rebuilt over the years. I don't know what the weather's like in Minnesota. I'm sure you have your fair share of things that tear up homes and property alike, but down here, the heat, the humidity, hurricanes, and all of that, it's made it very difficult to maintain a lot of these old buildings. So, the city has done their best with these at least.
Well, I'm going to run a recorder while we're visiting. Might be the quietest time we have tonight. And I love EVPs. Do you?
Yeah.
Is that, would you say, the strong point of being around town? Or what type of activity do you have in town here?
So, we have quite a few, I would say, object haunts. We, as an organization, have kind of been collecting object haunts.
Oh, wow.
My boss has really created a home for wayward ghosts, I would say. Local businesses who have had issues that we've investigated. There are a couple places down here where they were getting ready to do some renovations, and they said, we've got this piece of furniture here that we're not too keen on holding on to anymore. We've had enough of this chair moving, and so they have given it to us so that it has a home. Some of the objects have been brought to us by our guides. There's even a haunted roof.
A haunted roof?
Yes, a haunted roof in one of the
Okay.
buildings down.
I'm going to move. Obviously, there's something with power over here that is driving my K2 crazy. I'm going to try setting it. I mean, there's just a lot of EMF.
Yeah.
Can I quiet it down? It doesn't want to quiet down. There's a lot of EMF in here in general.
There's some interesting spots in here. Obviously, when we're doing the tours, we try to let people know there's an electrical outlet there, that sort of thing.
Right.
But there are a couple spots where people tend to get a lot of jumps happening on their readers when we're doing the tour.
Right.
Like this area here, I feel like I always get somebody on a tour who's stopping and they're walking back and forth.
Okay.
What is this reading I'm getting? We also get some weird ones over here by the counter.
Okay.
there is a lot of outlets and stuff over there, but again, it kind of happens in those weird spots where all of a sudden you get that jump up into the orange and the red, and you're like, well, that might
What
not be
is that? Yeah, it's different than maybe the last time you were in here.
Yes, exactly.
So a person like yourself who's in here quite a few times, you really know what should be reading something and what isn't. So as a team, do you get together then to do locations? You said the boss kind of does, but as a team you do too?
Oh yeah, actually regularly we do like team outings where we will go and investigate a building. Again, these companies will reach out to my boss Ting and they'll say, hey, we've got this, room in our hotel we're getting a little bit of trouble with it.
Right.
Yeah, and so a couple of us will go out there, spend the night, we like record a vlog sort of thing as well. Anytime we catch activity or something like that, we of course then post that onto our YouTube channel whenever we're able to, if it's not a private, investigation.
While we're talking here, I'm gonna see if there's me. I'm just hot too. It's ridiculous.
Let me see if I can.
I'm gonna see. Well, I'm not too bad right now. I'm fine.
Okay.
I was gonna see if we can get both of us on the screen here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not really that nice to look at. I'll admit that. But that way, we're kind of.
Absolutely, I understand.
So, out of the places in downtown, what has been the craziest thing that has happened to you down here?
So, I think one of them, so I've got two. I would say one that's like a little more crazy and one that's more like very exciting.
Yeah.
The exciting one happened at a bar down on what we call our most haunted street corner, Magnolia and Pine.
Magnolia and Pine.
Yeah, we've got a couple like ley lines that run through the area, and there's just a very long history there involving like the first cemetery that was in town, and they moved it. There were a bunch of fires that happened. So it's kind of like a supercharged area in a sense. But I was in one of the bars down there called the Celt, and there's a spirit there named Maximilian who we have developed a rapport with over the years.
Nice.
And so he will come out and talk to us, but it's our understanding that he was probably a bartender working at that building in the early 1900s. And he likes drinks. He was a bartender, and so I was there on doing a tour, and a guest, we had a flashlight set out, and he said, if you light up the flashlight, I'll get you a shot.
Oh.
And he lit that flashlight.
He's like, I am
he said,
thirsty.
I love the sound of that.
Right now I'm thirsty.
And the guest, tried again to see, if we can get another response. He says, if you, light it up, I'll get you 2 shots. Do you like rum? And he lit that flashlight up again.
Okay.
So bright. The guest went downstairs, bought 2 shots of rum, and as soon as he set them down next to the flashlights, it lit back up again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So very intelligent responses and.
Yeah, him especially.
Okay.
I know he has implored our boss to buy him drinks before as well, and she's hosted pub tours because that's something we do as well. She'll be down there, and Maximilian's like, "Hey, where's my drink? What about me?"
Are we expecting any guests?
We shouldn't be. They're like I said, they're doing some construction down there.
Okay. It just sounded like somebody opened a door over there.
Maybe.
It might. I think I just saw a bird fly by, and I can see people moving. Oh, that might be way behind me. Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. So that was one of the stories.
Yes.
What was the other story?
So the other story actually happened up in our home base at the Hairy Buffaloes.
The Hairy Buffaloes.
Yeah, so we operate up on the 3rd floor, which has been a blessing for the bar below.
Okay.
Prior to us kind of making that our home base where we, take guests at the end of the tour, they were getting a lot more activity in the downstairs area.
Right.
But now that we're there, and it's like, obviously we are entertaining guests, but the ghosts are being entertained as well. They're somebody to interact with.
They want a little something.
Exactly. So they're they leave the bar alone and they'll hang out with us up there. But one of our haunted objects, this is a chair that came from one of the local businesses, like I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But we believe that it's an older woman spirit, perhaps like a grandmother.
Okay.
She seems to come out whenever we have like families around. But I did a tour. This was early in my time as a tour guide, one of the first like couple tours that I did on my own, so that made it especially like shocking for me.
Right.
But I had a guest who, he was looking at the chair. We have a sign on it. It says, "Do not sit. Chair is occupied." He's not making any move to sit in it. Me and his girlfriend are both like standing there. We're looking at him while he's looking at the chair.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I see him double over. I'm like, "Sir, are you okay? Do you need a chair? Can we get you some water?" Anything like that. His girlfriend's, hovering over him. And he says, "Give me a minute." And he stands up and he tells us that he just got like a spike of very sudden abdominal pain.
Oh no.
And that caused him to like cramp up and have to feel like he was, leaning down.
Yeah.
He was also kind of that whole evening. I don't think he was prepared for it, but he was a lot more sensitive.
Right.
Than he.
So he had some
realized.
crazy stuff going on.
Yeah, he was getting a lot of spikes in the readings when he was using dowsing rods. Spirits were keen to talk with him. So it seems like maybe looking at that chair, he got that connection and was, very surprised about it.
Right.
He was fine, of course, but it was a very surprising event, to say the least.
Yeah. Now, do you ever have something get thrown across the room or?
Personally, not that I've seen, but we have plenty of stories from, like, the bar staff in the area.
Right.
Lots of them in this building in particular, when there was a restaurant that operated here for a
Okay.
while. Bar managers would call my boss and tell her that, "Oh my gosh, we, closed everything up. We put the chairs up for the night, and when I came in the next morning while I was opening, a chair flew 6 feet across the room."
6 feet.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm looking out across that. I'm going to walk over by the window if you would just follow me along a little bit. Now, the sun is kind of going to bite us a little bit here. But looking out, I don't know if I can get the right angle. Those old buildings back there, were they like some old brothels, or do you have some of the history on that?
Yes. So there is
The sun's really
down there. I know the sun is brutal.
Yeah.
Makes it hard to see. But yes, so there were a couple hotels that operated here.
Mm-hmm.
There was one where the ceviche restaurant is down there. It's called The Strand, and the upper area of that was actually a brothel.
Okay.
So we do get a lot of activity pertaining to everything that happened at that location.
Right. I mean, and it just has that classic look.
Yeah, the arch that's there was built actually in like the 1980s, I believe. That was a business owner trying to make sure he could get his liquor license for both establishments. But they definitely built it to kind of model the space. If maybe you saw it earlier when you walked down, but
Right.
the restaurant that's in there, I love that they kept this really early 20th, late 19th century like aesthetic on the inside.
Yep.
I feel like it's a good homage. And they're actually one of the few buildings that managed to maintain their original wood floors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, down that road, like I say, I don't think we can really see it too decent. You can see it through the window. If I get close, that sun is going to just beat me up.
Yeah.
But there's a building with your team name on it. So that's
The Hairy Buffaloes.
the Hairy Buffalo.
Yep.
Okay, and you're actually upstairs.
Yeah, we're all the way up in the third floor. For looking at it from the outside, you probably don't realize there's a third floor.
Okay.
But there is.
I wiggled the door handle just a little bit, and it didn't open at the time. But is there usually people there, or just at night during the tours?
On the downstairs area, that obviously depends on the bar sort of thing and how busy they are. But we keep the upstairs door locked because us being above a bar does mean that occasionally someone will get a little bit curious as they get into their house. So we keep it locked so that we don't have to worry about anyone wandering in who's probably not supposed to be there.
Right. And would you say your little museum is up there then, or is that somewhere else?
Oh no, it is. That's where
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
You think I'll get a sneak tour of that museum tonight sometime?
You definitely, that's where we end our tour.
Oh,
So
nice.
tonight, you're going to get to see it.
Yes, turning. Oh, here we go. I have actually volunteered to go on the tour tonight, and we're going to go around town a little bit, take a look at some of these spots, and check stuff out. And that tour starts at what time?
8:30.
8:30?
Yeah.
Okay. What time is it now?
I think it's probably 7:30. There we go. 7:26.
Oh, all right. You know, we got a little bit of a late start. Can we go about 5 more minutes with that?
Yeah.
Excellent. So, have you investigated other places? I mean, do you do houses in town or?
Yeah, like I said, people reach out to my boss, and she will investigate any place. She's done some investigating at our regional history center downtown,
Okay.
which was originally like our main courthouse in the area for some time.
Right.
We were there for like 70 years, and then they made it the history center for people to come and visit.
Yeah.
So she's done investigating there. She's done investigating for the guides sometimes. We've definitely had guides who've been like, I think maybe I brought a ghost home on accident.
Yes.
Or something, and she's had to go out there and help them with that sort of thing. But somebody who grew up in the area, lived here all my life. I grew up in what I feel was a partially haunted house, so you do see it in some of the residential areas.
Okay, and that was one of my questions.
Yeah.
What got you into this?
Yeah, so I love the scheduling and everything. My boss is great, but I just love this sort of thing. When I was a kid, I was really afraid of the dark and all of that. And then it was like I, got into high school and I like flip switch, and I was like, actually, I love all of this. And I would say predisposed to believing in ghosts because of my experiences growing up. I was born in a house about 10 minutes outside of our downtown here. The house was built in the 70s. I'm not that old, of course, but we got there, and my brother and I were both having a lot of strange experiences.
Okay.
There were times where we would both have like the same dream, which we're 10 years apart, so it's not like, I don't know, people say, twins.
Right.
Sort of thing. We were seeing kind of shadow figures around the house. My brother had an experience where he woke up and he found one of his notebooks that had been on his bookshelf was open and drawn in on his desk.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very startling.
Like what was drawn on it?
He said it was like scribbles.
Oh, okay. So not like a scary face.
No.
Not
Just,
Get Out, Red Rum, nothing.
No. Just
Okay, that's
something unusual. And for me personally, I struggle to fall asleep. It's just the way it is for me, but growing up, I had an issue where I would feel like somebody was touching my feet. And, being an adult now, I obviously know about sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware that that's a possibility, but I was always able to sit up and lift up the covers and check because I was also very afraid of bugs.
Right.
So my concern at first was like, are there spiders under there or something like that? There's spiders in my bed that I need to find. And I would check, wouldn't see anything, the feeling would go away, and I would lay back down to go to sleep, and it would start again. So that happened long enough, and then the book with my brother, my mom finally said, I kind of had it.
Right.
So she did her own, sort of going through the house. She put salt in the windows. She got the floor to wash.
Ooh, the whole works.
Yeah, she prayed in all the rooms. She got out her Jesus candles, the votives, and all of that.
Nice.
So drawing her on her Catholic roots there.
Absolutely. So I see a little stuffed bear over here. Is this part of the tour or?
So we put that in here to make it feel a little more inviting for the ghosts. We've noticed, especially in our building at the Hairy Buffaloes, that the ghosts like it when we have things out for them to purposely
Manipulate or? Okay.
Yes, exactly. There is a young spirit in our building who loves like a particular puppy dog stuffed animal that we have. We brought this here to kind of, again, coax them out, give them something to interact with. We do have a lot of like younger spirits here in the downtown area due to there being a brothel that was over here. But so this is our way of, like I said, giving them a little invitation.
Right.
Yeah.
Why does he got a Band-Aid on his mouth?
I think there's something wrong with his mouth.
Just trying to hide a little bit. Well, I'm going to shut this off. And, because that's really troublesome right now.
Yeah.
But as long as we're here, I'm going to introduce myself. Actually, I am Russ. I'm with the Search for Spirits team out of St. Cloud, Minnesota. And we kind of don't always travel around like this, but sometimes it is the case. And I introduce myself not only to the living, but to the dead as well. If there are any spirits on location, I am not here to raise havoc with your lifestyles, your way of doing things. I'm just here to hang out with the team tonight. And I am recording. So if you have any message that you'd like for me to have or to carry out, leave a message on my recorder. And I will call this team back and we will talk about the different things that I get on my recorder.
Absolutely.
And I know it's a pretty big group tonight, right?
Yes, actually it is.
Like, what's big? I don't even know. What?
So I believe there are going to be 18 of us.
18.
Yeah. So we are going to have another guy that's going to be joining us. So
Okay.
kind of rotate, make sure everybody gets time. We have plenty of equipment, so everybody's going to be able to get to use something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I saw you have a couple tours. It's a 2-hour and a 4-hour. Can you just...
So the 2-hour is, we like to call it like the taste test.
The taste test.
You know, because obviously there are a lot of buildings we'd like to visit and multiple buildings that we can go inside.
Right.
That's difficult to do in a 2-hour time window when you're trying to give people time to look at each of the buildings. So really when we do the 4-hour tour, you know, we call that our ultimate. We have some extra equipment we bring out. Oftentimes we get people who do that tour and they bring their own equipment. You know,
Okay.
People who are ready to investigate sort of thing. And in that tour, you're really able to kind of go to all of the buildings and, you know, do some hardcore investigating. In each
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
So tonight is the 2-hour.
Yeah.
So anything I do, they better talk real fast into my little digital recorder. But yeah, she said it was going to be a pretty good size. She says you might not... What was that little bell? Maybe that was outside.
I think that was someone on a bike.
Okay. I'm very sensitive when it comes to...
You never know.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people moving around. Other than that little door making a little noise over there a minute ago. But that seemed like it maybe was an error.
Yeah.
Like somewhere somebody opened or closed the door and it created a draft. But yeah, this is going to be great. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys tonight on one of the tours. And it's going to start right here then?
It's actually going to start out in front of the Hairy Buffaloes. This probably will be the first location that we come into.
Okay.
Because we usually end at our headquarters.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you ever come to Minnesota? Do you know anybody in Minnesota?
No. Personally, no.
Okay, well, you better, now you do, you know.
I do.
Now you do.
Exactly.
I'll leave you a business card.
Yep.
And I got a little pile in my pocket just in case I needed them. But I'm excited. I appreciate you guys allowing me to interview you tonight and talk about downtown Orlando, right? And a beautiful place. And there's a lot of like bar and grills and different things.
Oh, yeah.
Some under
Better
construction.
food than some people realize.
I just had a hamburger at Hamburger Mary's there.
Yeah.
And that was pretty good.
Yeah, I love their burgers.
Yeah, I mean, I just about had to take a shower to wash my beard off because it was messy.
Yeah.
But it was darn good. Lots of onions, cheese dripping all over. It was the mix.
Oh, yeah.
But excellent. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. It's been a fun show. I certainly do apologize for the beginning of the show, which was kind of a mess because I thought I had it turned so that you could watch it the other way. Apparently, I am not technologically wise enough to complete such a venture. So, but a lot of people let me know right away, say, hey, get yourself straight. You're looking sideways.
Yeah.
And I kind of always look a little sideways anyway. So, but hey, absolutely. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you, Cierra.
Yes.
And you all have a good night.